question, and then I forgot that we didn't record it, everything. So I lost this nice question. And it's much better that when I'm publishing things, it will start with questions or things that you're saying, all of you, not only me. If it's only speaking, it's a bit boring, but when someone else is also speaking, I think it's much better. So now we are up on the air and we can start learning. Yay! Is it? No, I lost you. Here it is. Hi, everybody. You see, you got it. Excellent. Good to see you. How are you doing? Oh, everything is fine. But I saw your long things that you wrote.
Yes, because you started with question or questions. I was thinking about before the class, and I remembered you referred the last class to Deuteronomy 33, verse 4, that the Torah of Moshe is the inheritance of Israel, and that, if I'm remembering well, the other peoples got their ideas from other peoples. But I couldn't understand the implications of this fact. So my question is, can you explain it in short again, the implication of this fact?
I will. We spoke about this last time, but it wasn't recorded.
Okay.
When you had a meeting with your friends, with the first meeting of the Noahide that you did there, we spoke about this. It's a question that I also raised up. Do you remember that, Brian? We said, so who cares if they stole this wisdom from the Persians or they knew it from themselves? Okay, after all, 2 + 2 is 4, who, for whomever it is. If you stole it and then you understand it, or if it is something that you invented it. Everybody will agree that 2 + 2 is 4. So who cares if they stole it or not, okay? And the answer that we gave is that when something is inherited in you, is related with you, it's one of your, I will call it it's a strong thing that is related with you, and it will help you to decide where to go, especially for the questions that you don't have a clear answer. There are a few questions in this world that logically, and this is also, we read it in the Kuzari, logically, you can decide this side or the other side. The question, if the world was created or the world was always, okay, since always, this is a question that logically you can't decide one side or the other side. Logically, both sides have the same proofs, just like Immanuel Kant also is proving 650 years after Rabbi Yehuda Halevi in the Kuzari, okay? Same thing with the question if God is exist or not exist. In our world, you can live under the assumption that God is not exist. There is no God in this world. And logically, you can think this way, or you can think the other way, that God is exist. Logically, you can't decide one way, to prefer one way or the other way. Logically, both ways have the same, I will call it values, or the same principles that you can decide this one or the other side. And this is the difference if the wisdom is something that you inherited, or the wisdom is something that you stole from someone else. If it's something that you inherited, you will assume, you will account, you will rely on things that you inherited in your environment. I will call it like that. Okay, the environment of the Hebrew nation is that they've heard God that spoke with them in the 10 commandments. And one of the things that he told them, not in the first commandment, okay, in the fourth one on the Shabbat, that he also, by the way, I created this world. Okay, this is not the main thing of, I hope that you see me well. This is not the main thing. The camera here is a bit awful. I'm sorry. This is not the main point. Okay, I will call it like that. That we're speaking about in the Hebrew faith. The Hebrew faith is speaking about God, and that is that we have an experience with Him, that He is guiding us, like like father who is guiding his kids, okay, all the time along history. By the way, he's also telling us that he created the world, and because it is so inherited in the Hebrew nation through this thing that we had with the Ten Commandments that God spoke with all of us. So when we have a doubt, when we're trying to think, to rethink, to understand logically what is happening, we will go to the comfort zone that we have, that God created this world. But when someone is stealing from someone else the wisdom, so when he have all sorts of doubts of the most fundamental issues, he doesn't know what to prefer. I'll call it like that, because it's not inherited in his environment of people. And this is where he might think differently, or he might take the wrong path. And this is exactly what the Kuzari is explaining. This is what happened to the old Greeks. Okay, they learned a lot of things, and they stole most of the things. Therefore, some things they took it under wrong assumptions. And this is, I will say, I nailed it. I explained it again. We spoke about this last time, and I explained this again now. You were not with us, and we didn't record it, so I'm putting it. But it's a great question. This is exactly one thing that we spoke about. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I want to continue on. Let's go on, because we're going to learn a very important part. And I must say that this is the Kuzari book. I'm learning this book already for almost 40 years. And you're not the first group that I'm speaking and teaching this book. But in the last few days that I prepared myself for this coming lesson, I've learned new things. I managed to define things that along my last 40 years, I didn't have the ways and the words how to define them. And for that, first of all, I appreciate very much. Thank you very much, all of you, that you forced me to prepare this this lesson. And therefore, I have new insights how to explain this and everything else. What we're going to show now is that everybody in our world who have a bit of brain and looking for some purpose in life, or try to understand what's happening around us, have some sort, I will call it, of an alien, something that is above the physical world. And he must agree with these. But the question is, how exactly he's defining it? He is defining this thing. Some will define it in all sorts of ways of God, all sorts of words. What is God? Something very holy, something very spiritual, something very big. And some will say, no, we don't want to go to this part of the spiritual world, and we will prefer to define it in other words, very clever words and everything else, but we don't agree. There is no God in the area. So let's read the Kuzari. I'm opening it. Let's see exactly. Let me share the screen. I opened it, I think, no? Yeah. Here it is. Just let me know that you see it, yes?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So where are we exactly? Let me, we came to 68, right? We came to 68. Yep. Excellent. So from 68, we are going to learn a very fundamental things, very, very fundamental things. So be prepared with yourself, and please don't hesitate to ask me hard questions. Fair enough. So let's read, please. 68.
68, Kuzari. Thus far, I find these arguments quite satisfactory. Should we continue our conversation? I will trouble thee to adduce. Sorry, Rabbi, I can't see the rest of the screen.
Just a moment. It's amazing, but I will move this thing just a moment so you'll see everything. Oh, here it is. Now we can see everything, right?
No.
Can you see
The
everything or
video,
not?
no, the video images are blocking it out.
Just a moment. Let's do the share screen again. Share screen, everything. Share. Now you can see.
It's starting, but it's still blocking it. I wonder if I can move the. Oh, yeah. Got it.
So read it again from the beginning, okay?
Yeah.
Please.
68, El Kuzari. Thus far, I find these arguments quite satisfactory. Should we continue our conversation, I will trouble thee to adduce more decisive proofs. Now take up the thread of thy earlier exposition, how the great conviction settled in thy soul that the creator of body and spirit, soul, intellect, and angels, he who is too high, holy, and exalted for the mind, still less for the sense to grasp, that he holds intercourse with creatures made of low and contemptible material. Wonderful as this may seem, for the smallest worm shows the wonders of his wisdom in a manner beyond the human mind.
The formal question is, how can you say that the creator of this world is speaking for a human being, even though the human being is a very wonderful creature, but still he is nothing if you compare this to the Almighty, the infinite, the endless thing, God who created this world. I think I told you more than once, when I flew out to Australia 25, 27 years ago, and the flight then was even very long from Israel, and we flew to London, and from London we came to Sydney through the Far East, okay, and from there to Melbourne. And I remember myself in the first time landing in Thailand on the way to Sydney. And I was really shocked to see so many people in one place, in one airport, okay, with so many airplanes flying, coming back, and so many people. And I said to myself, everything there, God is giving, a soul, and all of this God created. And then I was even more shocked, more amazed to go back on the airplane and to understand my whole shock of this. Flying from Israel to England, you're flying on the how do you call it, the Middle East Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. It's a very small sea. If you're flying in the 10 kilometers above, you see on one side Italy, and the other side the north of Africa. So it's not that you see all the time only sea. Okay, now it's a big sea, even though you see all of the time all the boundaries of the land around it. But when you're flying from Singapore, for example, towards Australia, after half an hour, you see only sea for 8 hours, something like that. And I remember how I was shocked to see this big world, okay, and how much we are very small in this world. So I will call it like that. The formal question here is, how come you can claim that God, who created this world, is speaking with a human being? This is a formal question, okay? And this is what he's asking here, okay? How can you say this theory that the one who created everything is speaking, okay, have some sort of a prophetic tradition with Adam, Noah, Moses, with the Hebrew nation? It's not reasonable, okay? And for that, first of all, let's see the simplest answer that the rabbi is answering, and we will see how it's going to a much more profound issue, okay, about the question of do you believe that there is God or not? But let's go. Let's continue on, please. Okay, 69.
69, the rabbi. Thou hast forestalled much of my intended answer to thee. Dost thou ascribe the wisdom apparent in the creation of an ant, for example, to a sphere or star, or to any other object, to the exclusion of the Almighty Creator, who weighs and gives everything its due, giving neither too much nor too little?
You read everything? No. Sorry, you read everything. Sorry.
Yep.
Yes, so basically what he's answering, we don't really know how it's happening. We don't have the exact formula. And we also don't really have 100% all the understanding of this. But we do know that there isn't really a difference between an ant and the human being. If you look on this, on the scale of what is the world, also the small ant or the small bee, for example, they have a very big smartness inside their body, just like the human being. The human being is a bit more smartness or a bit more complex. But at the end of the days, if God created all of these things, he also have the ability to discuss, to decide to choose, to speak and to discuss with the human being. This is more or less what he is answering. Now, this answer is not giving an explanation, but the truth is that this is a different issue altogether. And the main issue here is the question, if there is God, and if there is God, is it true that he is professing people? Those are the two main questions here. But the first question is there is God any at all? Now, today, we went even one step ahead, because if you will go to the seed, okay, of the boys that is going inside to the part of the woman, okay, the seed of the woman. We know today that the seed of the boys is a very small thing, but in each part of this small thing, you have everything that with the biological equipment that we have today, we understand with all of the main equipment that we have today, we understand, we know that each one of those small, tiny, bitty parts of the human being have some sort of a full organism of everything. And it's more amazing even than the ants. So something here is very, I will say, giant, big than what we can think. And the rabbi is leading the Kuzari to the trap that he wanted. So we need to read a bit more. And now let's read for a moment, few of them, okay, not only one or two, to continue until 77, okay? And I need to explain this because it's really very profound what's going on here. So please read. The ant is asking him, so please read to the end of 77. Let's read it and then we'll explain it.
70. Kuzari, this is ascribed to the action of nature. 71. The rabbi, what is nature? 72. Kuzari, as far as philosophy teaches, it is a certain power, only we do not know what it really is. No doubt philosophers know. 73. The rabbi, they know as much as we do. Aristotle, 13, defined it as the beginning and primary cause through which a thing either moves or rests, not by accidents, but on account of its innate essence. 74. Kuzari, this would mean that the thing which moves or rests on its own account has a cause through which it moves or rests. This cause is nature. 75. The rabbi, this opinion is the result of diligent research, criticism, and discrimination between accidental and natural occurrences. These things astonish those who hear them, but nothing else springs from the knowledge of nature. 76. Kuzari, all I can see is that they have misled us by these names and caused us to place another being on a par with God. If we say that nature is wise and active, speaking in their sense, we might even say possessed of intelligence. 77, the rabbi. Certainly, but the elements, moon, sun, and stars, have powers such as warming, cooling, moistening, drying, etc., but do not merit that wisdom should be ascribed to them or be reckoned more than a function. Forming, measuring, producing, however, and all that shows an intention can only be ascribed to the all-wise and almighty. There is no harm in calling the power which arranges matter by means of heat and cooling nature, but all intelligence must be denied it. So must the faculty of creating the embryo be denied to human beings, because they only aid matter in receiving human form from its wise creator. Thou must not deem it improbable that exalted divine traces should be visible in this material world when the matter is prepared to receive them. Here are to be found the roots of faith as well as unbelief.
The last sentence here is very important. We will deal with this last sentence next time. Now, the most important thing is, first of all, let's understand the normal answer that, the Kuzari asked. How come you say that God is speaking with a human being? At the end, he is answering him, and we will explain exactly what was the discussion here. But at the end, he is answering him, and he's asking him, do you agree that every human being here in this world is some sort of a connection that started with relationship between a husband and wife, and God also interfered inside and gave the soul to the human being? And on the same measure, we will say, on the same level, we will say that when all of the environment is in the right, proper way, and the same thing, God also can profit the people and not only give them soul so they will live. This is what he's answering at the end, okay? But he's bringing us to a very high level of starting to realize what exactly is the main debate between the believers who believe in God in this world and the atheists. It might be that it will be a bit easier for me to explain it through something a bit else. You know what, let's start with this, and if not, I will give also an examples. What exactly is the nature? Okay, when Aristotle is explaining nature, what he is saying that it's the beginning of everything. But what Aristotle doesn't want us to think too much and to say and to understand that the nature, how he is describing it, is not something who have a free will to decide what to do and how to do. He is only defining the exact, I will say, the exact ways how to do one thing or another thing. Okay, it's like two billiard balls. Okay, when you knocking one billiard ball on another one, the other one will move. If you won't knock it one on the other one, it won't move. You know, the billiard that we're playing in Australia, they love to play billiard. I know that. Okay, there is a very simple laws of nature, that everything is working according to the laws. And how exactly those laws are working? They're working in this way, in that way. Exactly, you know exactly. If you will take the water to the and bring it to a warm of 100 Celsius, it will become from liquid to gas. Okay, this is the laws. Now, is it something that is related with conscience, with mind, with logic? Logic maybe yes, but conscience, you can't refer to the water and to the heat underneath the part of the water, some sort of a logic. It's coming to an X value of heat, and the water will become from liquid to gas. Fair enough. Something that the fire thought before it did it. The water did something with the conscience for that. No, all of the nature is working like that. And this is what he's answering, he's saying to him in 73, how Aristotle exactly defined nature. As something that is working at this stage, it will do that, and this stage, it will do that. But he's not referring any intention, any intelligence, any thoughts, any wish, any purpose in nature. Nothing at all. Therefore, we must go one step ahead. Are we calling our alien, okay, nature or not? Let's take, for example, a very important person who died not long time ago. And he said, I always forget his name. He said that everything started from the law of gravity. What's his name? Sir, what's his name?
Newton.
No,
Isaac
not Isaac Newton, after Isaac Newton. Now we're speaking about someone who died for a few years ago, 3-4 years ago.
Hawking.
Hawking, yes, for example.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. He says, we don't, this is what he is saying. Okay, you can see this in the everywhere today. We don't need God for our theory. Everything is starting from the laws of gravity. Okay, and from there on, there are a lot of coincidences how life came to this world through the law of gravity. I don't know who created the law of gravity in his mind. Maybe no one created. It happened also as a coincidence, maybe. But for sure, he is saying the law of gravity is the most hard, important nature, important law, nature law that in our world. And from there, with a lot of coincidence, man came to this world. Man appeared in this world after a few million years, billion years. Okay, so who exactly is his, I will say, God? The coincidence. Yeah, you can define it however you want to, but after all, he needs this coincidence to, sometimes they call it also the chaos, okay? The chaos theory. This coincidence brought, step by step to the world. So, or what they say, no one really had any intention in behind the scenes for that. Nobody really wanted to do this. It happened by itself, okay? And this is exactly the main, I will say, debate between those who don't believe in God, what we call the atheists, or those who believe in God. Now, I think good if those who are saying here they don't believe in God, it was everything coincidentally became to this world or happened in this world. The world is very, I will say, dark. It's very closed. It's very pessimistic world. Coincidence? This is how this world is working. Everything is a coincidence. So how I'm surviving also? Nothing here is guiding. Where exactly, I will say, the believer is against this thing? Because we as human beings, us, and this is what I managed to define in the last few days. It was really, some light for me. We have something very interesting in our, I will say, framework as human being. And this is that we are looking for a purpose in our life. And for us, it's really hard to say that everything that we are doing, we have purpose to do that. Okay, we're not doing anything for coincidence. Okay, but the whole world, with all of the complexity of this world, with all of the connections that we have and the cycle of life and cycle of nature and everything else, was coincidence. Something here is not going well with me. If we, and only the human being have this problem, because only the human being are looking all the time for purpose in life. So if we are looking for purpose in life, it can't be that everything else doesn't have, or that all of the world doesn't have purpose in life. If nothing have purpose in life, so we didn't thought to do that. Something here is not, is against the unity of us with the world. You remember that the Hebrew nation, the unity is the most important thing. Okay, oh Israel, God is our God is one God. God is one. Okay, not only one on the counting. Okay, one and not two. Also one, but putting your holiness. We as human beings are looking for purpose in life. We are looking. Purpose in life is, the second stage. First of all, almost everything that we are doing, we're doing with purpose. We have a purpose with what the things that we are doing. We're not doing things coincidentally, just because we wanted to. I'm not speaking only about big frames, big companies or something like that. Also, start just human beings, okay, with your family. You want to go to a hike. You want to go you want to work, so to bring food to your family. Everything that we're doing with purpose. And suddenly, we're looking on the world and we're saying, but the world, everything is coincidence. Something here is not working. It's not going on the same, I will call it, concept. And this is what he is saying here. Look, the word nature is just trying to hide that very important people, very smart people decided how to explain what is nature. Fair enough. So I'm relying on them. Go and seek a bit, and you will see that they are not explaining anything that is related with any purpose or any idea or any ambitions or any purpose in behind the behavior of the world. But you're just replacing the name. Instead of saying God who created this world, you're saying nature. And instead of saying that there is a purpose, you're saying that everything is coincidence. And if everything is coincidence, this is a very dark world without any optimistic at the end. Because if I'm looking on this world, I see that everything at the end is dying. So nothing here is, with any optimistic end. And we need to realize one of the most important things that happened in the world is that 75 years ago, the Hebrew nation as a nation, not as a person, not in a person level, as a nation, did redemption, came back to the homeland and said, there is a possibility of doing redemption for a full big community of a nation. Therefore, everybody have the, I will call it a optimistic end. We will manage. How come we did it? Because God helped us. You believe in God, fair enough. Okay, you believe that there is something else here that is giving more purpose to this world. Okay, now we are starting to be more optimistic. I won't go inside to this issue too much, but the positive psychology that is running in this world today, positive psychology, there's the normal psychology of it was at the beginning, it was what's his name? The first one, Freud, okay? And after him, all of his students, Carl Jung and others, they spoke about things that happened to you in the past. And this is bringing you to behave XYZ today. The positive psychology, I'm saying it, in a nutshell. It's not, you need to go inside to all of this issue much more. But the positive psychology is saying, no, don't look much on the put for yourself some aim, some goal, something that will be the purpose in your life. Find inside yourself all the powers, the inner powers of yourself to achieve this goal, and go and achieve this goal. And everybody is very happy going and achieving this goal. But all of this mindset of thinking like that, first of all, it started in the Holocaust, okay? And the days that there were the most darkest days of the Hebrew nation. But after that, 2-3 years after that, the Hebrew nation restored back and came back to the homeland. Fair enough. But more than that, all of this idea is saying, look, there's a purpose, put a purpose in your life, find the powers to achieve those purposes, and start working to this thing. This is a positive psychology. And now, if our mindset is working like that, you can't say all the time that the world and the nature of this world is without any purpose. Everything is coincidence. Something here is not working good with me. Okay, I'm working on a higher level, and the world is working coincidentally, coming to some sort of things. And this is what is, I will call it, The conversation here is how come God is speaking with people, and how come he is even caring to what people have to say. What the philosopher is saying, God is never speaking with people. And the answer is, you see that God is interfering and also getting connected with people when they're doing, I'll say it in the hard way, okay? When they're doing some sort of a sexual relationship and everything is fitting. So also God is interfering, is putting also a soul inside, okay? On the same level, you need to understand that God is also have the ability to speak with people. How exactly he's doing it, he's not giving an answer. So this is the first level of what's written down here. But he is going inside also to the framework, or to the understanding of the word nature, to explain that this is the main thing. Do you believe that there is someone here behind the scenes that created this world with a purpose? Therefore, the world is an optimistic place. The world is a place where you can grow up and you can find much more. We call this the blessings and everything else for your life. Or you say, no, I'm relying, I'm counting, I'm going with the people who are defining a lot of very nice words, but I don't exactly understand all the words that they're saying. But if you will peel the words, you will see that they're speaking more about the coincidence. By the way, the Darwin theory, okay, of the creation that came from the monkey. On a personal level, there is a way that we say that man came from the monkey, or man came from the mug. Maybe I prefer that man came from the monkey, not from the mug. But this is on a personal level. But I'm saying that when you think about the Darwin explanation, everything is coincidence. Okay, when you go to the explanation of the you said his name before, just a moment before you said his name. What's his name again?
Hawking.
Hawking. Okay, that I don't know who created this gravity thing. Okay, but I don't need God. But the gravity, coincidentally, gravity doesn't think. Okay, created here everything. The world is a bit, we in a level that we're doing everything in a purpose, but the world, this big world with all of this, everything coincidence. It's not. We need to realize now he is a very smart person. By the way, there's in a moment I will give you a moment to ask, but I'm going to open a site, okay, that is also explaining everything that happened coincidentally, okay, and he doesn't believe in God, and we are all dumb people that we decided to believe in God and everything else. He's a very big professor at the University of in England. Fair enough. It's a nice place to. I don't know if the word is even nice. Okay, it's a place where you can learn how people who don't believe in God think with a lot of things. Fair enough. But again, the main question is not if you. The question is, do you believe that there is also some sort of purpose in this world, in behind the scenes of this creation? This is where we can speak with God. We have connection with God. Or you don't believe? Fair enough. Live in a dark world where you will be all the time in a situation that you don't understand why you need to live in this world. And this is what's happening to a lot of people, okay? Also, when they don't believe in God, it's also something that is happening. You have any questions till now? I said, I think I explained a lot. If there's any questions, I'm here. Yes. If not, if everything is clear, so I'm going to do a test to see if everything is clear.
Got one question, Rabbi.
Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
The laws of nature, or regularities, as wonderful as they are and complex as they are, can you say that their effects, they're not the cause? The cause is a divine, and the laws of nature are the secondary. They're the effects taking place in the world. So they don't have any intelligence by themselves. They're secondary to the creator, but they don't actually reveal the creator. the Almighty as such.
You're asking, just a moment. You're asking an excellent question. Okay. This is the most atheist person that I am enjoying to read his nonsense. This is the only thing I have to say. No, he's saying interesting things, okay, but he's not. And you have also a book. Is there God in this world? So let me move this to English so you will see it also. Just a moment. Let me see. Let me move it to English, and I will answer your question. Okay. Here it is. This is a person. Okay. You see it? You can see it.
Yep.
Save it to yourself, save it, whatever it is, and everything. Your question is one of the most amazing questions that you can ask when you're learning this issue. Okay. Now let me try to give a very a profound answer. Okay. We have let me find them. Okay. Let me find those two, just a moment. We have a very big debate between the philosophers, okay? We have from one side, the David Hume, okay? Let's go to the Wikipedia, we'll go, okay? We have David Hume, and not only him, but also William James, okay? Let's go to the English. Again, catch this, here it is. This is David Hume, okay? And with him, I will open another one, okay? You can see the name and everything?
Yep.
Yeah, this is David Hume. I think that people know this name, but in a moment I will say exactly what they said, but not only David Hume, but also we have William James, okay? No, come on. And also William James. They're going together, even though one was from the United States. William James was from the United States, and David Hume was from England. Okay, what are they saying, both of them? I will say it like that. What they're saying basically is that everything is a miracle situation. Okay, you wrongly think that because you knocked on the door, okay, you're doing a knock on the door, so you hear that the door is getting knocked. Now, there is no connection. More than that, you are so regular today, all of us, okay, that the sun is going up from the east and going down in the west. Who said? Maybe tomorrow it will be on the other side. Everything is miraculously. Nothing is with laws that are staying forever. I won't go inside to all of what they're saying. Basically, what they're saying, there are no miracles or special miracles. Everything all the time is miraculously. Therefore, when Moses did all sorts of miracles, it wasn't a miracle because there are no laws of nature that 100% are the same. Everything that you did yesterday will happen tomorrow in the same ways. This is what both of them are saying. So they are basically saying everything is miracle, and what we see today is also all the time all sorts of miracles changing, but everything can change also in every moment. This is what they say, okay? On the other side, how do they call this in English? I think the name is nominalistics, if I remember correctly, but you will read it then in the inside. These from on the other side, we have also we have mainly it's Aristotle, but not only him. Mostly the philosophers of they are the more rational people, how they call themselves. And what they're saying basically is that there's only the laws of nature. Therefore, there are no miracles. Okay. So we have those people, we have those people. Let's look for a moment what the Torah is teaching us. Let's go back to the Torah. If we want to know what God is saying to us, we need to see it in the words of the Torah, right? So let's go to chapter number 1 in Genesis. Beginning. I don't have it here. It's not my computer. Just a moment. Maybe. New tab in Genesis. Let's see if I find it here. There it is. Maybe it's here. Okay, it's not a good one. I'm sorry. Where is the Chabad one? This is also maybe too. In Genesis, we see something very interesting. Oh, let's go with this. Okay. God had 6 stages, what we call stages. We call this basically days. Okay. After every day, we have this verse. Okay. And there was evening and there was morning, one day. At this specific day, there were a few miracles inside. Or the main miracle that happened, that God said, let there be light, and there was light. This is a miracle of the first day. Let's go to the second day. Also on the second day, also we have, okay, there was morning, there was evening, and there was morning, right?
Yeah.
This is second day. So again, and what was the miracle of the second day? That God created the heavens, the water, and He did differentiation between the waters underneath and the water up and everything else. I don't know what are those words and what exactly it is trying to teach us, but the issue is that there were miracles that stopped on the second day in a different level. And then we have the third day, and then we have the sixth day, the seventh. These we have all the days. And at the end, okay, on the seventh day, this is in chapter number 2. It's not here. Let's go to chapter number 2. On the second day, on the seventh day, something very interesting. It is not written, it was night, it was evening, it was day, the seventh day. This is the only day that it's not saying there. What it is saying? That God stopped His work, or everything that He did, okay? His work which He had made. Okay, this is what it says. And He rested in the seventh day. So what we're saying basically, in the first 6 days, there were a lot of miracles. God interfered and did a lot of miracles. And He created the world to a stage where man can come to this world. In the seventh day, God is stopping His miracles. He formed what we call the nature. He formed the nature. If everything was like David Hume or William James are saying, think about this for a moment. Today, the sun is rising from the east. Tomorrow, suddenly, it will rise from the west. We won't be able to live in a world like that. Everything is changing all the time. So God formed the laws of nature. And from time to time, He is interfering. He is interfering. If there will be what we call, in Hebrew, it says, a situation that, God forbidden, the world is going to come to such a crisis, so God must interfere. For example, if the Hebrew nation will get lost in the Egypt country, so nobody here in this world will be able to bring the presence of God to the world. So God is interfering with the miracles. Okay? So there are times that God is interfering a bit with miracles, but it's a very rare situation that He's doing it. Usually He's preferring not to do that and to leave the possibility to the human being to come to a stage where He is managing to live one with each other and to bring the Messiah. So on one side, God, we say that God have the possibility. He decided to create this world and He have the possibility of doing miracles. On the other side, we're saying that God also created the laws of nature and he preferred to live with the laws of nature. And we are combining William James and David Hume on one side, and the Aristotle and all of the philosophers on the other side. And we're saying today we're living in a world, just like Aristotle said, with the laws of nature. From time to time, God is also interfering with miracles. This is how we in the Hebrew nation believe that things are working. So we're not 100% one side or 100% the other side. And when you go back to the Kuzari, this is exactly what is happening there. He is explaining to him, look, to speak about nature, it's very good to speak about nature. Let's speak about nature. But you can't say that nature is doing something with intention, with intelligence, with purpose. This is not things that he is doing. Nature is working, like the laws of nature. Whenever water will come to the Celsius, 100 Celsius, they will become from water to gas, And whenever you will find, for example, if I'll go to something else, whatever law of nature that you will take, okay? Whenever the lion is very hungry and you will see a lamb in front of him, you will eat it. These are the laws of nature. This is how it's working, okay? When it's going to be miracle, when God's supposed to interfere, because a very important thing that, that we won't lose all of the, I will call it the vision of God, the purpose of the world in God's eyes. Till then, he won't do any miracles. But if we're going to lose the purpose of this world in God's eyes, he's going to interfere with miracles. Okay, you got an answer?
Yeah, I've got that. Yes.
Fair enough. You need to learn a bit. Next week, we're going to do an exam about David Hume and Charles Williams, and Aristotle also. Fair enough.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
If you have more questions, I have another 2-3 minutes. If not, it's okay. One more, a very important thing. Next week, this time next week, I'm flying to Canada.
Next week you're flying to Canada. So next week we have no class.
So the next coming 2 Sundays, I'm going to be in Canada. Next Sunday, I'm going to be on the air this time. On the way to Canada, I'm going to meet Noachat communities. Okay.
Okay.
In Vancouver, in British Columbia, in Vancouver, and others. So next week, I'm going to be in Canada in 2 places, and then on the way back, I don't know how much far is it for you. On the way back, I'm going to have a meeting in Germany, in Frankfurt. Is it far from you, Bart? Frankfurt is far from you?
Yeah. In Belgium, we are not accustomed to travel like in America. For Belgians, it's far. For America,
fair enough.
Far.
It's
not so far from the, I guess, from the Belgian-German border, but still it would take a couple of hours.
No, fair enough. You don't need to go. So I'm going to, I did it on purpose, okay? I'm going to land in Frankfurt and to have there something like 6 hours, and I'm going to meet Noachide people from Germany. So 3 stations basically of the Noachide, okay? I'm going to do other things for the Hebrew communities in Canada. I'm going to have in the next coming Sundays, 2 Sundays, I'm not going to be available. So next time that we're going to meet will be another 3 weeks from now. But if you want, I will send you links, when we'll be in Canada, when we'll be there. If you want to see things, if you want to ask questions, don't hesitate also to send me emails, things like that. I'm trying to answer. Yes, Bob.
Take more photo for us, okay?
Sorry? Send photos. I will send photos. Of course I will. I will send photos. Yes. And you can invite Rabbi Sherki to your place also, so you will come.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Yes, Bart, we wanted to ask something. Sorry, Bart.
Yeah, next week. Okay.
No, I didn't have a question specific, but I was thinking about some theory I read a couple of years ago. If I understand the class very well, everything has to do with intention. That's the main difference between an atheistic view and our view, and so with conscience. So a couple of years, I read the theory that conscience was made by the multiplicity of the connections in the brain. In this theory, they concluded that at the end, a robot would get conscience because he would evolve and get able to get more and more connections in its system. And this would create a kind of conscience. That was the theory.
If I could kiss you from here, I can kiss you, please. I want to hug you for this nice question, because 6 years ago, coincidentally, I'm saying coincidentally, I sat down waiting for a lawyer that I had a meeting with him, and he was busy with something, and he said to me, look, this is a nice lady. She came from Australia, and she doesn't know Hebrew, but I know that you know English. Speak with her. So I was polite, and for almost an hour we spoke on with each other. And since then, I mentioned this conversation for few people, and I always ask myself, why God organized for me this meeting? In a moment, I will explain to you, because basically she answered your question. It's the first time that I understand why God organized for me a meeting like that. You know, she answered your question. She was one of the biggest. She retired. She just retired 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. She just retired, and she was one of the most highest professors in Melbourne University. It's Monash, you know, one of the biggest universities in Australia, a very strong one. You have there something like 50 or 60,000 students. It's a very strong university. And her speciality, okay, the special thing that she was teaching mainly was what we call, in Hebrew, we call Bina Melachutit, okay? Not only to try to organize robots that will be able to behave like humans, okay? And she said to me, and I'm telling you in a nutshell, okay, because we had an hour of discussion. It was very interesting, and it's an issue that is really, I'm into this issue in different ideas also. And she said to me, listen, there will be never, ever something that will be able to become as human being, because the robots are working like that everything is related to the program that we put inside. So even if there will be a lot of people there that are related with this programming these robots, at the end, it will be what they had planted inside this machine. It won't be able to reorganize itself, because this is something that we don't know how to do, that it will reorganize itself. The robot is working through the programming, okay? And this is one of the things that we can teach him a lot of things. We can try to tell him that if you will have a similar situation, he will do something like that. But it's only things that we are programming inside the robots. The intention, or to find the purpose in our life, it is not related if you are secular and you don't believe in God, or you believe in God. Every person is trying to do things that have purpose in his life. Nobody is trying to do nonsense, right? From the moment that you're growing up a bit, after you're going out from the kindergarten, we're telling you, think with what you're doing, or before you're doing things, and what is the purpose for things that you're doing? Because if we will do all the time nonsense, we will destroy the world. Therefore, it is very essential not to do things without intention. This is not nature. The laws of nature don't have any intention in behind the scenes. So you can decide that you are, I will call it secular, or you're not secular, but you're looking for intention in your life. Now, go to the world, and no, in the world, everything was coincidence. Nothing was with intention. Something here is not working. Something here is not it's not tuning fine. It's not fine tuning inside my heart, you know, inside. Okay,
Thank you.
fair enough. Okay,
Thank-
people, have a great week.
Thank you, Robert.
Wait, 2-3 weeks, okay? But I will send photos and I will send I will write down from time to time in the Facebook and I will send you some things. See you all.
Terrific.
Oh.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Have a
Bye,
good
everyone.
trip.
Bye, everybody.